Hello and welcome to Literature and the Arts. Today we'll be exploring the world of drama and theater and try to uncover the differences between three key terms: soliloquy, aside, and dramatic monologue. For many students and theater enthusiasts, these three concepts seems to be very contradictory and the differences between them very blurred. So if you are a theater enthusiast, a literary student, or someone who is just curious about performing art, this video is for you. Let's start with soliloquy. Soliloquy is a speech in which a character speaks his thoughts aloud, alone on the stage. In this kind of speech, the character is conversing with himself or herself, is giving, and that speaking aloud is speaking out his thoughts. Those things they cannot possibly share in the midst of others. He's speaking it aloud alone with himself, and this gives us a glimpse into his mind. What is he thinking about? What is his motivation? What are his fears? What are the conflicts going on in his mind? For example, a character comes on stage, is a priest, a clergyman. He comes on stage and says, "Oh, and I love that beautiful girl in the choir. She has everything I desire in a woman. But unfortunately, I'm married. Huh? How can I have that girl?" You know, such a character who is a clergyman cannot share such information with any other character in the text because of his status as a clergyman, holy man. He cannot share such lust or desire for another woman apart from his wife with someone else. So the soliloquy gives us an idea of the conflict going on inside of him, that this man has lust for another woman. So soliloquy gives us a glimpse and insight into his mind, and this is what psychoanalysts, those people who use psychoanalysis to analyze or interrogate a work of art, this is what they use. They use this soliloquy, what in the psychoanalytical term called sleep. They use this soliloquy to have a glimpse into the mind of the character, and then they can know what conflict is going on inside of him and the consequent actions of such characters. So soliloquy is simply a character alone on the stage speaking aloud the thoughts in his mind, things he cannot possibly share with others, probably because of his status or probably because of the how absurd such thoughts are. Those things he hides alone in the corner of his mind. He projects them aloud alone on the stage. Next is aside. An aside is a brief comment or a side comment directed by a character to the audience while other characters on stage are there, but they are not aware of that information that character passes to the audience. For example, a man on the stage looks at his wife and says, "Wow, you are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen." And while the wife is blushing, turning right and left, looking at herself again, the man turns to the audience and says, "I'm just deceiving her." The wife is still on stage, still turning and looking at herself, still blushing. She's not aware of that brief comment that the character makes to the audience. So that's an aside. An aside, remember we said soliloquy is a character alone on the stage speaking to himself, expressing aloud his thoughts, his fears, and the inner thoughts of his mind. However, for aside, the character is on stage with other characters, but he makes a brief comment to the audience which the other characters on stage are not aware of. Another example is a woman who serves her husband food on the dining, and because of how hungry the husband is eating the food so ferociously, and the wife turns to the audience and says, "That's the last food he's going to eat. He thought he can betray me and go scot-free. I have put poison in his food." The man is still ignorant of that information and he's still eating very fast and ferociously. So the character is using aside, communicating to the audience, and that's what an aside seeks to achieve. It achieves what is called dramatic irony. Dramatic irony, as you will know for many literature students, is a situation where a character, the audience, are aware of the information in which other characters on stage are not aware of. In the audience know what other characters on stage are not aware of. So because of the use of aside, the audience know that there is poison in the food of that man, but the man who is on stage, who is eating the food, is not aware. So we use aside to achieve such dramatic irony, such that the audience have more information through the brief comment made by other characters on stage. It's also used to achieve comedy or comic relief. Like that man who looks at his wife and says she's the most beautiful woman on earth, and then turns to the audience and says, "I'm only deceiving her." You know, it's funny. It makes the audience laugh. So based on this, we have been able to cut the difference between soliloquy and aside. Soliloquy is the character alone speaking aloud his thoughts to himself, but aside is a character speaking direct, making a comment based on what is happening on stage, makes a comment to the audience in which other characters on stage with him are not aware of. And lastly is dramatic monologue. For many literature students, the word dramatic makes it even more confusing. And because of the term dramatic in the dramatic monologue, they think that the concept has to do with drama. But whenever the word dramatic monologue is mentioned, always know that it is a poetic form, not a dramatic pattern or dramatic technique. Now, the dramatic monologue was popularized by two major poets, Lord Alfred Tennyson and Robert Browning. They were the first and the poets that popularized the dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue is a kind of poem where there is the poetic persona talking is in the poem is talking to a silent listener about something. So it's a monologue because there is someone in the poem listening who is not making any comment, and the persona is the one talking in the poem. For example, in Robert Browning's My Last Duchess, the persona is talking to a silent listener about his last duchess. He has a portrait of her on the wall, and from that portrait he begins to talk about his last daughters. With this video, I hope I have been able to explain and show you the differences between these three key terms: soliloquy, aside, and dramatic monologue. If you have enjoyed this broadcast, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and God bless.